The following is a presentation of the ForceCenter podcast feed.
As Obi-Wan Kenobi once said, hello there, and welcome to Databank Brawl, the podcast where we learn about Star Wars characters, discuss them, share our feelings about those characters, and then make them fight for our amusement and also yours. I'm your host. My name is Joseph Scrimshaw. With me, as always, is both Whiskey and Ken Napzok in around the same amount.
An equal amount. I'm so happy to be equal to this excellent Jameson IPA that we're drinking.
It is lovely. I'm smacking my lips. It's very delicious. Going flavor crazy over this. So it'll be an extra fun episode infused with IPA Jameson if you'd like to drink along or have some apple juice, whatever.
Right.
You know, we've had a really great run of Databank Brawls where we've had a bunch of really cool guests. We had many of the members, cast members of Hyper RPGs, Pencils and Parsecs. Then we had the fellows from the great podcast Star Wars Minute. Now we are back to Databank Brawl basics, just us in a little sip of something to just go crazy with some weirdos.
Absolutely. And us being the primary weirdos, let's take it to some strange places.
Yeah, and we got some strangers, but I think this is going to be an interesting battle because it actually does make a little bit more sense than some of our battles. But are you ready to just start with your first combatant?
Let's dive in.
All right. Our first combatant is Minister Hydan.
Oh, yeah. I like this a lot here.
Yeah, I saw him right there at the top, and I had to go for it. Here's what the official StarWars.com databank entry is, and then we'll go deep. Varys Hydan, an advisor to Emperor Palpatine, Minister Varys Hydan is not Force-sensitive, but is a scholar of Jedi and Sith lore and history. Upon the discovery of the Lothal Jedi Temple, Hydan was charged with leading the excavation and deciphering its mysteries. So this guy, if you're like, what are you talking about? He was in the very ending of Star Wars Rebels, much like the databank was describing. He was basically the first time he got to see kind of an Imperial dignitary. He's got a weird little purple hat thing, right, that he wears on his head. It's not a kind of a full head cowl.
It's weird. It's like if you had a wet rag on your head and you just left it there.
It's kind of purple and evil.
Yeah. Purple and evil.
Purple and evil. Purple evil head thing he's wearing. It's great. But yeah, I just squealed in excitement when he first appeared to see this kind of character fully realized on screen.
Yeah, I had a great reaction to this character. Two kind of reactions. One, I thought, is this like Yup Tashu from later in the Aftermath novels?
Yeah.
Another Imperial dignitary? Is it Janus Grijatis or something like that? Is one of the characters? Simalu. And then I was like, well, what about Vinay? The one that we see in Vader's castle.
Yeah.
Is that the same level, or is he just a butler? So I was excited. Then it was revealed it's Minister Hydan. It's this other character. And then Malcolm McDowell's doing the voice. I'm like, awesome. Another one in the ranks. Yeah. I enjoy that. I like that.
Yeah. So he's an amazing character. Is there anything else on Wikipedia to flesh him out, or do we really only have this one appearance?
No, it's this one appearance, and it goes into a little bit more detail of the episodes that we know, and the Wolves in a Door, World Between Worlds, and the great stuff that kind of ended the Rebel series. So there's not a lot of like height and all that kind of stuff. We just got species human male, hair color gray, eye color blue, skin color pale. He's truly an empire. And died, confirms the death is 1 year before the Battle of Yavin on Lothal. So it kind of gives you a little more, non-StarWars.com, but I trust Wikipedia on this.
Yeah.
A little more where the show ended and how much time between the events.
Yeah. That's way earlier, farther out from the Battle of Scarif than I thought.
Right. Which
amazing.
Also means Jason Syndulla was probably a newborn during the Battle of Scarif, but I'm not here to get into details.
We'll let Varys Hydan have weird, mysterious theories, right?
Yeah.
So can you give us a nice, juicy physical description? We know he's pale. We know he has a weird purple napkin on his head that reeks of evil. What's his body covered with?
It is, as best as I can figure here, and I'm going to also do a double clicking, if you don't mind, do some clicking and get into some images here and see if we can see anything more in the designs and from the episode. He's just really wearing those robes head to toe.
Okay.
There's not like Minister Hydan in pantsuit outfit or, anything like that. He looks classic, and people like you and I and a lot of Star Wars fans around the world, we immediately recognized, he's of that
dignitary
ilk.
Yeah, okay, so that's fun. So we can imagine who knows what under those robes.
Got a very prominent nose, too.
Okay, yeah. All right. So we don't have a lot more physical description. We don't have a lot more juicy canon to discuss.
Yeah.
We both like him. I will say one of the things I really liked about him is that he portrayed himself as knowledgeable about art, but as a critic.
Yes, was very clear about that.
Yeah, and like that was really powerful after all of Star Wars Rebels, showing us Sabine the artist, showing us Thrawn the art appreciator, who thinks he can unlock it, and this kind of evil, menacing guy who trades in weird artifacts, right? Who in theory truly deeply needs to understand art. That's his plot point in these episodes. He needs to understand the art on the walls of the Jedi Temple to unlock the world between worlds.
Yeah, and what it means.
But that he has that sort of nose in the air attitude about it.
Yeah, which is so great that it's obviously Sabine, and that means something.
Yeah,
I love that he's you're an artist, I'm a critic. Yeah. He has a YouTube show. Yeah.
A little bit of a know-it-all, and it's interesting that he does actually know much more than other Imperials because he knows the truth of Darth Sidious. All right, so that is Minister Hydan. I think a favorite character, brand new favorite character of a lot of people. So hopefully he'll have a good showing here on Databank Brawl. This was fun to think, who is Minister Hydan going to face? And I went to the depths of my list of somebody that I've wanted to have on Databank Brawl for a long time, and this character seemed like a good matchup. And that is that beloved character, Professor Huyang.
Ooh.
Here's what StarWars.com has to say. Huyang was an ancient droid, stooped with age, yet still spry of mind. Huyang was a storied architect and professor who oversaw the construction of lightsabers for centuries. Based out of the training vessel Crucible, Huyang guided younglings after they had successfully completed their task of securing a kyber crystal from the icy caverns of Ilum. Huyang helped them visualize their lightsaber parts and pulled the needed supplies from his vast trove. His ancient memory systems contained records of every lightsaber constructed.
Great pool. I love this pool. Here's why I love this pool, Joseph, is you've got the potential for two professorial characters.
Yeah.
To have a battle of wits more than a battle of physicality and violence.
Yeah, I think there'll be wits and limbs involved in this. Yeah. So for people who aren't caught up, this is a weirdly awesome character, I think, from the Clone Wars that just opens up so many cool lines of thinking and is yet another great example of George Lucas going, I don't know, let's play.
Yeah.
So the idea that the Jedi, who are so natural and organic, would have this ancient droid be kind of the main helper of building lightsabers for younglings,
and that there's this data bank and the knowledge that's in this character's brain. Voice. So we've got two. I see what you've done here. You got Malcolm McDowell, and then you got David Tennant.
Yes,
and I know you're a fan of Tennant, Doctor Who, and all that stuff. So I get what's going on here. This is like you said. What'd you say, Mark IV? Droid? Is that what it is? It's Mark IV architect droid.
He's an architect, a storied architect and professor.
Yeah, which, what school did you go to? You're not just programmed? I don't understand.
Jedi school? Jedi did the Jedi build him? Or was he like a professor about lightsabers? And like, you know what? And this is, generations and generations before the Clone Wars. And like, you know what? We got this ship. We don't want it ever to land. We just wanted to go back and forth between Coruscant and Ilum. Yeah. Because you are the one and only contact point for building lightsabers.
Yeah, that's a good business.
Yeah,
good business.
He's a little like a weird version of Ollivander from the Harry Potter series with the whole sort of wand presentation. You know,
it's like need help from the Gathering. Call Professor Wong. The Harry Potter thing. It's funny. It definitely. I remember watching the episode and in a good way. They're trying to add some schooling, a school structure to it.
Yeah. Who knows? Maybe that was a youngling spin-off attempt. Maybe
1.8 meters tall, masculine programming, sensor color yellow, plating color silver. Though In the pictures, it looks like a rusted silver.
Oh, yeah, because he's definitely real old.
Yeah.
And like that idea that a droid can be stooped with age, that's really cool.
I like that. Stooped with age. The
Stooped with age.
program in there. And of course, I'm fascinated with the idea that Starkiller base is Ilum. So I love I love Ilum in the Star Wars story. It's a wonderful, magical kind of planet there. And, he's known. And just imagine sitting down with this character. And the history that he knows and the people that he knows. You got to imagine like him and Yoda now are buddies. They're just like,
Oh, yeah.
Hey, Yoda, I'm coming back into Coruscant for a little bit. I got some time off. When's the next gathering? You want to grab a bite down at Dexter's? Like, I can see that happening. I don't eat. I'm a droid, but let's meet up anyways.
But he might, because this droid, this is a crazy droid. And this is not confirmed. This is just my opinion, is doing all these weird databank entries. So there is the droid in Maz Kanata's castle who has fought on Databank Brawl ME8D9, who in her databank entry says there are whispers that over her long service she once served the Jedi. And I think it's because they have a design similarity.
That's awesome.
So that somebody was like, oh, it looks a little like Professor Huyang.
So there you go. The new trilogy connects to old canon.
Exactly.
All right? Don't tell me otherwise.
It's all connected.
Yeah.
Now, do you have fond memories of this character? I know you like that arc. It's a great arc.
I do like it. It's kind of Clone Wars at its best in that it can be sometimes silly or... if I'm watching A New Hope, Empire, and Return of the Jedi as a kid, there's at no point do I think there's a weird old droid that took a young Obi-Wan to a snow planet to find a crystal. Like, that's weird,
A
right?
strange old kind of butler droid almost.
That's not what happened. It's something different. But then George gives structure to his histories here, and you can kind of just accept it and have fun with it. And I like that there's this kind of this weird droid taking the kids out for a little field trip.
Yeah, and now I'm not always great about remembering to revisit the voice. So I remember David Tennant doing the voice, and I think he's just kind of weird and playful, a little 3PO-like, but I don't think it was really aggressively, certainly not.
It doesn't stand out other than I think we knew it was Tennant going in.
Yeah, and I recognize him because, he's naturally Scottish, but he does his sort of basic British accent that still has a little bit of Scottish hidden in there.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on with Huyang's voice there. So, you like this character?
I like this character. And here, here's what. Sometimes we read quotes, right?
Yeah.
We read quotes. And let me check... Hydan doesn't really have a quote, though we did see the show. So it's a little bit of a long quote. Huyang to the class of Jedi younglings, from the battles of Rashfond to the peacekeeping of Parliok to our very own Clone Wars, the lightsaber is the Jedi's only true ally. But how do they work? Yes, you have brought me crystals, but they're all useless unless you give them life. Do you know how to awaken the Force within the crystal? No? Then I suggest you listen and learn until you think of a question this droid cannot answer. So I love that quote because it gives some order and structure to what this Jedi Order is, good or bad. And then we get these little morsels of history. We all love our lore. We all love our old Republic, right?
Yeah.
The battles of Rashfond and the peacekeeping of Parliok. I want to know what that is. I love that. Good stuff.
What the hell that is. And a good reminder that even though we've dealt deep into kyber crystals being sentient, there's a clear idea of you can't just jam them in the machinery. Yeah. Your lightsaber needs to be personal in order to activate the life inside the crystal. Right. That's really, really cool. Yeah, so I love this character. I love that it's a droid because it easily could have just been another Jedi. But the idea that it's a droid makes him seem like Jedi of old are even more open about what is, life, what is sentience, and Professor Huyang, pretty sentient. Any other thoughts before we dive in?
No, other than this is going to get interesting.
Yeah, let's get weird. Let's fight. So as always, we like to decide where and when we are fighting.
Yeah.
So good old Minister Hydan, he dies, right?
He does die at in this episode, but We don't know.
Yeah.
All right. We can play around with that.
Yeah, I'm trying to. I'm spacing. What actually did happen to him? The temple.
It collapsed.
The
right?
temple collapses. Yeah. The temple collapses on him. He doesn't get eaten by a wolf. That's just almost every other Imperial character.
Right.
Gets shaken like a rag doll. Right. Now Huyang gets beat up and cut apart but survives. So one could imagine he rebuilds himself. So I think this would be interesting to set it maybe a little bit before the events of Star Wars Rebels.
Okay.
In that era of the Empire and the Emperor is sending out his crazy cultist minions like Minister Hydan to discover the secrets of old. And I'm sure one of the things that Palpatine wants to know is like, where did that damn lightsaber droid go?
Yeah, because I'm sure he knew. I'm sure he knew of the gathering. I'm sure the Jedi were like, oh, so-and-so's out on the gathering field trip right now. So, okay. So I think Palpatine sends Hydan out towards the last known location of this planet, Ilum. I think we might have our first Ilum fight, to my knowledge.
Okay,
Unless we fought on Ilum before.
I like this. Yeah, so maybe it's even earlier because, so it's pretty soon after.
Oh, after the events of Sith? Yeah.
Yeah, because maybe, here, I like this. So I think Palpatine pretty quickly knows that, you know what, they got this Death Star plan and needs power. Hey, let's just ravage Ilum. That place is crazy with crystals, right?
Yeah.
So that's pretty early on.
We need to get to Ilum,
Yeah, need to get to Ilum. So I think he sends, teams to drill, teams to excavate, but he also sends Minister Hydan.
Yeah, Hydan, I need you to find the secrets of Ilum.
There is a droid that may be hiding there.
There was a droid 1,000 years old on the ship The Crucible.
And Hydan's just, he's eating all this up. I like the idea that he's just like a cultist. He's just like,
yes, my lord. Yes.
So excited. Yes, exactly. And I think he offers a compliment. How does he compliment Palpatine?
You are so wise and foresee it all. I will go to Ilum and find the truth behind the crystals and the gathering.
And so it is. Do what must be done. And
harvest them all. Harvest the crystals.
So we wipe to Ilum. The name of my hip-hop album.
Yes.
Wipe to Ilum.
Wipe to Ilum.
And people are drilling away. There's some stormtroopers there guarding over it all.
Yeah.
And Hydan has a couple of these new elite troopers, these death troopers. And he's one of the few people who knows this truth. And every information is segmented and protected. He's like, well, I'm going to take these two death troopers.
Right.
And they're not great conversationalists, Hydan thinks to himself. But he's gonna start. He's got an old Sith artifact called the Finder, and
love it.
He's not a Force user.
No,
but so Palpatine did this, and he poured some of his anger and hate into this weird compass thing. It's a big piece of metal, and it's got a big, sharp, wavy arm.
Bled the compass.
He bled the compass, and he filled it with his desire.
Yes.
For that robot.
Right.
And so Minister Hydan is walking through the snow. He doesn't have any larger outer coat, so he is freezing.
Oh, yeah. I'm colder than I thought.
And the arrow points to a cave.
Yes.
So he marches that cave, right?
Death troopers in tow.
Yeah.
The movie versions of the Death Troopers on Rebels, you hear them a little better. They approach the cave. Death Troopers on the front there with some flashlights on their blasters there.
Yeah,
on their helmets too. Hydan shivering but following. And I think they step on down. They move unobstructed. Nothing's in their way. And all of a sudden, it's getting even colder. And they come around the bend, and even the Death Troopers are like, whoa. all they can see is the shine of like a giant cavern. Light. It's luminous. Blue, greens, purples, some yellows, but that's not canon anymore. And then there's, well, let's see, the Jedi Temple Guards. There's just a lot. It's a lot going on.
It is like just walking into like the most 1970s disco. There are 8 disco balls coming from different directions with weird lighting on them, purple, orange. It's everything, and it's really hard to see what's going on. And they suddenly hear a who, an alarmed noise, and then they hear a strange noise. They hear a broo, broo. It almost sounded like something was being loaded into like a slingshot. And 2 lightsabers
Ignited
lightsabers come flying out of the darkness. Yeah. And I think one of them just spears a death trooper right through the heart. Just goes all the way in, deactivates the hilt. Falls to the ground. The death trooper falls over, smoking with death. Right. Do you think the other lightsaber hits the other trooper?
I think I think his partner was like a few steps ahead of him, so they both don't have time to react right away. But he has just an extra second to flinch, and when he does that, the lightsaber hits off the top of his left shoulder and the ignition goes away, it deignites, and it just flops away.
It spins, right. So now here's the big question. There's clearly something there in the darkness. Yeah. How brave is Hydan?
Hydan is now hiding behind a bank of crystals and little snow-covered rocks inside this cave. It's so cold, it's created his own weather system, so it's snowed inside this cave, all right? Or the wind just blew it. Never mind, Ken. Don't worry about the weather in space. So Hydan's there. He's just like, fire on what's over there. Fire.
I think they do. Or the one does. Pew, 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 pew. They got those big circular barrels.
Love those
big circular energy blasts. Pew, 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 pew. And they hear, ha, ho, ha, ha, ho. And they hear kind of this weird metallic rustling. Clearly there's something in there dodging. Yeah. And suddenly something emerges from the shadows. You hear like, all right then.
Yes, it is Huyang, Professor Huyang.
Professor Huyang. Now, he's all beat up. He's got mismatching limbs that he has repaired. Yeah. The feet don't match. One of his arms is like a protocol droid arm because that's all he could find. Yeah. But he pulls out a weird V-shaped lightsaber. Like there's a wide V.
A V-blade.
A V-blade. Oh. Blue on one side, orange on the other.
Wow.
He's holding it in this weird droid stance.
Did he go to get one of those blade builder sets?
He did. Wow. He made a little in the backstory. He's been hiding in this cave. He knows he got the message of Order 66. Yeah. He knew the Crucible was discovered, his ship, and fired upon. So he retreated to Ilum. Yeah. He hid in this cave and he built defenses, including the much rumored and almost impossible to master V-blade.
The V-blade.
And he built himself a blue and orange V-blade.
Right.
And the day he's been dreading has come, where he must defend himself and the secrets of Ilum.
He must fight. Must fight.
Yeah, and in fact, that's what he says. He steps forward and says, I must fight.
And the Death Trooper shoots. And I think Huyang blocks a couple of the shots.
Oh, yeah, he's pretty good. Yeah. No, he's not a Jedi.
Not a Jedi.
But he is a robot, and he does a droid, and he does have pretty fast reflexes. But he's also old and broken, and has missing limbs. So he does some good blocking. He's trying to do the thing that he teaches his students to do, which is to reflect the blast back. But it's not working. The blasts are hitting the wall and the ceiling. There's an explosion of crystals. I think one kyber crystal flies out, and it cuts Hydan's nose. Cuts right across his nose. Oh, the blood spurting. Oh, it's gross.
I've been struck.
Now, this Death Trooper keeps firing, and I think that's our first real choice of combat here is can Professor Huyang take down that Death Trooper?
But not directly and not maybe by complete choice, all right? We would like to get our our fighter's choices, and actions have consequences or successes. As he is deflecting the blasters, he doesn't. A good Jedi would maybe to be able to control the ricochet.
Yeah, but no,
boom.
it's wild swings.
It's wild. So, boom, I think he's fortunate. The Force is with him on this day. It hits some crystals on the top.
Okay.
And some stalactites, I guess we'd call them, right?
Yeah.
Those are the upper ones, right? Stalagmites down below.
Yes.
It's been a while, kids. And
Ken did take Caves 101.
I took Caves
We both
101.
did, but it's been a long time.
And it falls down on the Death Trooper.
Oh, yeah. I think it cracks him in the head.
Yeah.
Splits his helmet open. It's ugly. It is ugly. You get the sense that Ilum itself maybe is expressing some anger.
Ilum, it's like they say in Game of Thrones, the wall defends itself.
Yeah.
Ilum defends itself.
The cave strikes back.
Yes.
Yes. And now
excellent title.
It's just Professor Huyang and I'm just going to say it different every time. Versus Minister Hydan. Yeah. And the professor steps forward and says, "Do you know who I am?"
And Hydan, he's afraid, but he's learned it well from Palpatine. He stands up, he's like, "Oh, I am just a mere researcher. You must be the famous droid, Professor Huyang. I mean you no harm. My Death Troopers are just following orders. I didn't tell them to attack you. It came from above. I'm here for research."
But you are a follower of the Sith Lord that I have heard about in Jedi broadcasts from the temple, known as Darth Sidious, are you not?
Well, there's been a lot of misinformation following the Jedi turning on the Republic. You're probably hearing some false narratives put out by the Jedi.
Now, Hydan is doing a great job, and I think normally his obsequious lies would fool almost anyone. But Professor Huyang is an ancient droid who has spent most of his time with children trying to do a difficult thing.
Right.
He has heard lies more than maybe any sentient being in the galaxy.
Right.
He can hear through bullshit.
Yes.
So I think he just says, in retrospect, what I said was not a question, it was a statement. I know what you are. I know what you're here for. And I will be the last line of defense.
Which is when Hydan has a little bit of a click in his mind. He's like, well, okay. A droid will not stand between the might of my Emperor's empire. And he grabs a broken shard of crystal, and he flings it straight at Huyang.
Yeah, and his anger is serving him now. Again, he's not a Sith. He's just a fan, but this is an old droid, and Professor Huyang tries to, he makes a wild swing with the V-blade. In fact, he tries so hard, he accidentally cuts off one of his own arms.
The design of the blade is fallible.
It's questionable. It looks cool, but this is why you don't always make blades that just look cool, because they can be dangerous. So he cuts off one of his own arms, and the crystal lodges in between, his abdomen space, where where droids are sometimes unnecessarily exposed.
Yeah, oddly exposed.
The crystal just lodges right in there,
the midsection of.
And I think Hydan, Hydan loves evil.
Yes.
He hates Jedi.
Evil, yes.
And I think he now sees a moment of weakness, and he goes for it. I think he picks up that one of the fallen blades that were slingshot, and I think he ignites it, and I think he starts slashing away, and I think he starts criticizing Professor Huyang's appearance. Is only he can do as a great critic. Blood still trickling from his nose. What does he say to try to cut down the feelings of Professor Huyang?
You, like your ancient disappearing order, are old and broken down and unable to defend yourself from the stamping momentum of the future. You are a relic. I shall bury you in this planet of Jedi history. You will be erased when we use this planet for the might of the Empire.
Oh, and it's great. And then I think he goes in and he's hacking away, and Huyang is he's ducking and weaving, and he's kicking up snow to try to block it, and he's blocking some of the these wild swings. And then Hydan criticizes his actual physical appearance.
You are mismatched, stained, rusted, slow to react, creaky, and broken.
And I think some of this is hitting home with Huyang, that he knows it's true. He knows he's seen better days. He's wrestling with the guilt of having failed the Jedi Order and being the last line of defense. And what a crappy, broken last line of defense he is. As he starts trying to reach back into his own training and all the things that he has told his students, and he's told them to try to figure out what makes them unique, because that leads to what their lightsaber is. So he's blocking these horrible attacks and trying to make himself think about what makes him unique. And he realizes that maybe he can turn his own weaknesses into strengths. He's a weird, broken, ugly creature. So he decides to embrace his own ugliness. So he lets out a weird scream. Like, and he advances on Hydan with the V lightsaber, and Hydan kind of falls back, startled. And Huyang starts tearing himself apart in rebuilding himself in front of Hydan. And like just making himself as strange and ugly as possible. He takes his own head off and attaches it like basically where like he puts his own head on his crotch. He takes a leg and he makes that an arm. He takes that crystal and he jams it in an arm socket, and he just starts dancing around like, "Ooh, what do you think of me now? This is the real me. What do you think of that?"
Hydan looks at him and says, "You are an abomination, not worthy of this galaxy." And Hydan's pretty proud of that one.
Yeah.
He just kind of stares at him. So I think that's an opportunity for Huyang to act.
Yeah, and I think he takes it. I think he says, "You don't understand. Sometimes being weak or different makes you stronger, like this." And he tips over. He just throws himself bodily on top of Hydan. Hydan naturally puts his hands up, and Huyang brings up the V-blade, and as he falls, shunk, cuts off both of Hydan's hands.
Oh, wow. Double hand slice.
Yeah, double hand slice and double hand slice body slam. Wham! So Hydan suddenly has no hands and has the ugliest, freakiest robot on top of him with the head now buried in between Hydan's legs.
This is the most not safe for work episode of the Databank we've done yet, and I love it.
So how do you think Hydan, he screams in pain, obviously.
I think he struggles to push him off.
Yeah. Stumps flailing.
If you've ever seen me try to get off my couch after a couple hours of playing Twitch or something, and I have this weird, always extended side of the couch. Like it's an L. My couch is an L.
Always ready for action.
I can't quite get off that. I have to to make sure all my drinks and liquids are clear. I flail about. I think that's what's going on underneath Huyang.
Okay.
Hydan's just flailing about.
Flailing. And I think he sees something. He sees that compass. That weird old ancient compass, just pulsing with dark side energy. It's got the weird wavy pointer. And I think he grabs it between his two stumps and desperately stabs at Professor Huyang, loosely holding it in between his stumps.
This is so gruesome. It's good to get it back to this place in Databank. Yes, and he aims for, as best he can, the logistics are fuzzy in my brain now, but he goes for the crotch head of Huyang and is able to pierce one of his sensors, his eyes,
with yellow eyes,
Sith finder antenna.
Okay, so and that really hurts Huyang because Huyang is a seer. He's the one who wants to be able to see who the kids are and help them see themselves. That really hurts. His eye socket pulls out. Huyang is kind of mesmerized, like thinking to himself, normally cutting people's arms off or hands off, just that slows the roll, but not this guy.
Yeah.
He is committed to this horrible doctrine of the Empire.
Yes.
And I think this might be a good place to pause our battle. Both have been wounded grievously, wounded themselves grievously.
Yes.
Who do we want to win this combat?
Look, I think Huyang, I feel sorry for him. This has been a long and illustrious career, 1,000 years or more of Jedi knowledge. Imagine what he's done to help Jedi go out, Padawans to go out and become Jedi, to go out and save the galaxy and help the galaxy.
Negotiate with their lightsabers.
Yeah. There is a time to go and a time to not be part of the story anymore. And Hydan, sometimes you can harness that anger and evil and get what you want.
Yeah.
I would go Hydan.
I think this has to be Hydan. I think this is a lesson that is learned in this time period a lot, is that people who worship the dark side like to fight. And people who like to find the light have to find a more clever way to be victorious. And Huyang just might have seen the end of his days.
End of days.
Yeah. So I think that Huyang gets the Sith compass in the eye.
Right.
It's lodged in there.
Yeah.
Because obviously Hydan doesn't have a great grip. He, in fact, doesn't have a grip. He has wrist pressure.
Right.
And that's not working for him. So Huyang does the unthinkable and ejects his head. He force ejects his head to try to escape. He manages to kind of angle himself so it kind of pops up and goes over in the snow. It doesn't fly into Hydan's crotch.
No.
It's not a crotch shot. It is an attempt. He fires his head over, taking that compass with it. Now, Hydan still has his stumps where he can attack the rest of his body. So what does he do to the body of Huyang?
Well, what he does is he, with the two stumps, he pulls that crystal out of his arm socket. You said there was a crystal.
Yeah, he stuck a crystal in his arm socket.
And he yanks it out. And then he, with his, I guess, feet, maybe one of his feet.
Yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, sure. Or maybe, you know what? Even better, even more violent. With his teeth. He goes for the center thorax, if you will.
Yes,
the abdomen of Huyang, and rips open like a center piece. So it's like a little cover.
He bites it open.
Yeah. And then with the stumps, he pushes that crystal essentially into the heart of this droid.
Oh, he drives it into the heart, the crystal, destroying the body of Huyang. Oh, that's painful. And Huyang kind of knew this. His head is still operating.
Yes.
His head is still functioning.
Like 3PO on Cloud City.
Like 3PO on Cloud City.
Yeah.
And, there's the old Monty Python. It's just a surface wound.
Yeah.
You know, that's not... Huyang knows the end is coming. And he taunts Hydan.
Yeah.
It's like, no matter what you do to my body, my head is over here. And that is a metaphor for the light side of the Force.
Yeah.
You may kill the body, but the head will live on for a while. I mean, I realize, I understand. I know, you're going to come over. I'm not mobile. You're going to come over here and kill my head. I understand.
Yeah.
I understand. And while he's saying this, it's a distraction because the cords from his neck, they're waving about. And what Hydan doesn't see is that Huyang is basically loading up a memory core in his head, and he is ejecting it from his head, and he is burying it in the snow. Oh. So all of that knowledge can someday be found.
Ooh, I like that.
He's embracing his end, and he knows that it is time for the Jedi to slumber.
Yes.
And they shall return again, and they will need to know important things, like you can make a lightsaber out of wood.
Yeah.
If you want to go crazy.
Yeah.
You can do that. He wants Jedi.
He wants them to know.
So he buries it in the snow as he taunts Hydan to try to bring about his end.
Yeah. And Hydan stumbles over. He kicks the head a little bit. Jerk. You can't do anything now. And then I think he picks up the head.
Okay. And with his stumps?
With his stumps. Surveys the scene. And I think he has an idea. I will present this as a token of our conquering of the knowledge of Ilum to my emperor.
Nice.
And I think he exits the cave, finds the crew sitting out there. They're on breaks.
Yeah.
They're like, where'd the guy go? Where'd our boss go? I don't know. You want that stick? Yeah, okay. And he comes out, and then I think he proclaims victory. He holds it up as best he can, like a peace orb, as if he was Boss Nass.
Yeah.
Does he shut it off? Does he shut off Huyang?
I think Huyang is still talking a little bit, and I think that Hydan thinks he is going to bring this trophy,
Yeah,
right?
the trophy with information.
With information. No, Huyang has dumped some of the information,
right.
But I think Huyang is still talking. I think Huyang is angling, and this is the first time I think we've had this on Databank Brawl. Huyang wants to be murdered. He wants Hydan to believe he has ended him, so he doesn't suspect about the memory core he has left behind.
Right.
So Hydan's thinking, I'm going to bring this home. I'm going to bring this home. So here's what I think happens. This is what the troopers and the drillers see, is Hydan, this kind of creepy guy in the weird robes, comes running out with smoking stumps for a hand.
Yeah.
He is carrying in his head what looks like just kind of a normal droid head, but it's got this weird arcane compass thing sticking out of the eye. And Hydan's like, prepare my ship. I need hands. He's starting to stress a little bit. He's going through shock.
Yeah.
And I think in a last moment of victory, I think Professor Huyang looks at one of the troopers and just yells, "I'm a bomb!" And the troopers open fire. And Huyang's head explodes from blaster fire. And Hydan falls to his knees like, "No, you idiots!
Fools!" He has to do an after-action report for the Emperor. Things go wrong. But I think if we fade out there at that point,
I think...
and then we fade back in.
Yeah.
Following the events of the Galactic Civil War, a young man dressed in black with a cloak lands an X-Wing and a sassy, grumpy but mischievous droid R2 unit in the back. And this person plops up and walks into the cave, looks around, digs, and finds a little glisten gling in the snow.
Yeah.
And Luke Skywalker bends down and moves some snow away and picks up this memory core.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I must study this.
Yeah.
He turns around and walks out of the cave.
It's not a kyber crystal. It's even better.
It's even better.
And let me ask you one last question.
Yes.
Does Hydan get new hands?
He does. He gets same kind of robotic hands that Luke gets, because by the time we see him again in Star Wars Rebels, he's got what appears to be two working hands. But now you guys know the true canon.
Yeah, that they were lost on a cave in Ilum. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. Is there one more?
Yeah. Oh, there is.
One more.
Yeah.
I want to know. You feel tapped into Hydan.
I do.
Do the hands do anything special?
The hands can be used as weapons. He's more prepared now. I am out to do the Emperor's work, but I don't know what I'll encounter out there on my archaeological adventures. So he has the hands. One of the fingers, a finger in each hand could be moved, and a crystal blade is in each one.
All right. I like that a lot. And that is the story of how Minister Hydan was the very first person to get a hand that had secret vibro fingers. And that is our story. Another weird Databank Brawl. Man, this one was fun because every once in a while, we have the crazy matchups like, how are those going to fight? And these guys kind of made sense how they might come together, and even more bizarre and disastrous than I expected.
Love it.
So delightful. If you have characters that you would like to see fight, by all means, let us know. Use the hashtag Databank Brawl. The old Databank on StarWars.com, it's been getting updated more. They've been adding a lot more characters from Last Jedi, some from Rebels. We're still going to do some deep dives. We'll have some special episodes coming up. We're coming up on our 100th episode pretty soon. We'll have something very special for that, as we always do on big anniversary episodes. 100 episodes is insanity. So thank you for all that support. And of course, do use that hashtag Databank Brawl to let us know who you want to see throw down. Ken, where can people find you?
Hey, you can find me at Ken Napzok. You want to join me on Twitch? It's twitch.tv/Ken Napzok. I'll play Little Battlefront 2, and you can talk to me about Star Wars and life, the universe, and everything.
That is right. You can also connect with Tony Thaxton, who wrote the great theme music for Databank Brawl, also our main show, and Jennifer Landa's new show, Happy Beeps. More Tony Thaxton music coming. You can also check out his Patreon for even more Star Wars music, and in fact, he released for free download the theme he wrote for Happy Beeps, which is some BB-8 funk, which will make your day great no matter what. You can also check out our Patreon. That's patreon.com/ForceCenter. We got some merch at tpublic.com/user/ForceCenter. For myself, you can check out my podcast, Obsessed. I got a lot of live shows coming up, and all that information is on my website at josephscrimshaw.com. You can also find me on Twitter and Instagram as at Joseph Scrimshaw. You can like Force Center on Facebook and follow us on Twitter as at Force Center Pod. And until next time, as Luke Skywalker once said, well, no one was really listening to him, I care. That's it for Databank Brawl.